Hello and happy Thursday. Welcome to Tech Talk Thursday. It's myself and Martin McKenna, which we'll be bringing on in a minute. We have a special guest with us today. We have Saddouk, who is an educator, facilitator, all things amazing. And we're going to be bringing on Saeed in a moment, but let's bring on Martin. Hello, Martin. Welcome back to the show. I know you're not very well at the moment, but how are you doing? So you might be coughing and spluttering through this show today.
Yeah, I have my mug of Lemsip here, trusty Lemsip. I've got a bit of a cold going on at the moment. So I'm glad that you and Saeed are going to be pressing the buttons today. I've been pressing the buttons the last couple of weeks. So my turn to sit back, relax, ask a couple of questions and croak a little bit and press the mute button.
Yes, nothing wrong with that, and appreciate you running the show for the last couple of weeks, but it's back to normal procedures now where Martin can sit back, relax, and show off green screen at another time. But for today, we're just going to be bringing on Saeed in a moment. But we have a couple of comments already. We've got Jeremy in the house. Let's see if these comments will pop into the right place. They do. Jeremy, thank you for joining. You're just here for the heckling. Heckle away. We're not going to mention Final Cut Pro and the disappointment of that update today. That's for another show entirely, for those people who do use Final Cut Pro. Anyway, without further ado, if Saeed is ready, give me a thumbs up in the... There he is. All right, he's ready to come on. So Saeed, welcome to the show. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Martin. Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. Doing great. Nervous as always, being live on stage on the stream, but otherwise everything is awesome. Looking forward to our conversation.
Great. Well, it's really happy for you to be here. We're very pleased, and we're glad to see you in this environment. It's a safe environment here, so nothing to get nervous about at all. We've got a couple of people in the house already. We've got Chris. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. Good day indeed. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, Claudio, as well, for joining. Wow, we've got getting a full house here as well. So, Saeed, for people who don't know who you are, maybe you can tell the world all about Saeed, who you are, how did you get here, and how did you start your facilitation education journey?
In 15 words or less.
In 15 words or in 15 minutes or less.
As you already mentioned, my name is Saeed, and thanks needed for pronouncing my first and last name correctly. It's a rare occasion. I'm from Germany, and I call myself the facilitator because when the pandemic hit in, I was a trainer before in a corporate environment and also did workshops. But when the pandemic hit and we were all isolated at home and only had like our monitors and keyboard and a little bit of internet to communicate with each other, I got bored really, really quick and tried to figure out new ways to entertain myself. And as a geek, I got to learn about tools like OBS Studio, for example, what a Stream Deck is, and how you can use these things in meetings, in trainings, in workshops, and not only for streamers. And since then, I'm just trying to make all things that are virtual as engaging as possible, as fun as possible, as memorable as possible, and so that people want to join rather than think, oh my God, another Zoom meeting, right? Nobody ever said, yay, another Zoom meeting, I want to join, and I want to just break this a little bit and show. It doesn't have to be screen sharing of PowerPoint slides while some reading from it the whole time. There are ways, especially tools, that can help you to create an experience that is not usual. So when people join a meeting like this, hopefully say, oh my God, what's that? I see this when I watch your streams, for example, they see something like StreamAlive, and oh my God, what's that? How does it work? Magic, right? Witchery, and that's the effect I want to achieve, but more in a corporate and business and more serious world. So yeah.
I think we spoke about this just at the pre-show before we went live, and we were talking about the fact that you're bringing all the sort of the streaming elements that a live streamer would do, the interactive chat, the messages, everything that you would see that you're going to show us a little bit later into a workshop facilitation environment. So to get over, as you said, these boring typical corporate meetings that you see where it's just one person, PowerPoint slide and slides and nothing else and so on. And I think, Martin, from what you were saying, is that it's about time now that the corporate world need to think about, well, how are we presenting ourselves to the rest of the world? I mean, the days have gone where PowerPoint is just the norm and we're just sitting there going through a PowerPoint slide. Since the pandemic, and where lots of meetings now are still run virtually and in big virtual workshops, it's about time, I think, people decided to sort of level up their video and production game.
Yeah, and then the world has changed as well, hasn't it? Because we're never going to go back to the days where everybody has to go into the office every single day. So we will definitely have people in a hybrid format on all of our meetings. So we need to be able to engage them, and we don't want this, can you see my screen? And we've all heard it, and it can be so much better. So why doesn't the business community borrow more from the streaming community? And I think, as Saeed said, it is because they think it's all voodoo and some weird strange thing, or it's all about dancing cats and silly dances and stuff like that. No, it's not. We can do some almost broadcast quality stuff here, and it no longer has to be, can you see my screen? You can do fully immersive presentations. We've already done and played about with some in the past, but some of the techniques I've seen Saeed using are really cool. So I'm interested to find out all about that and the platforms he's using. In particular, there's one called Butter, which I'd never heard of before. In fact, when I was looking at some of your comments and you were mentioning Butter, I found it totally confusing because I couldn't understand how the word butter was working into the sentence. It just didn't make any sense to me till I eventually clicked, oh, this is a platform. I can't believe it's not butter, almost.
Something like
which
that.
Which is a UK
right.
joke.
There it is.
Nobody else
there
is going to get it. He's got stickers and everything. You can't beat this guy.
Before we...
so tell us a little bit... Go on then.
No, I was just going to say, so before we do that, we've got some fans in the show here really quick of Saeed, the famous Saeed is here, so thank you, Val. So go ahead, Martin, sorry.
I was just going to say, tell us all about Butter then, Saeed. Let's start off with that rather than OBS. We can fight about OBS and Ecamm a bit later, but let's start with Butter.
Full disclosure, although you see me talking about it on social media the whole time, but this is just like a talk about other tools, not because I'm endorsed, paid, affiliated, or in any kind paid by anybody. It's just, it's my favorite platform. If I have to choose, I would use Butter rather than Zoom. And don't get me started on Microsoft Teams. The show is not long enough today. However, so basically, Butter is a video conferencing tool, and their claim is created by facilitators for facilitators. And once you join a session like this, you are invited whenever you like to get a demo with me. It has integrated tools. First of all, it looks different. You know, we all have Zoom fatigue, but we don't have any Butter fatigue yet. It looks different. It looks colorful. You know, it's just changing the wallpapers, as we say in German. You know, changing the environment a little bit, which can be exciting. And also, it has a lot of integrated tools already. So if you want to do polls, for example, you don't have to install an additional app like you would have to do maybe on other platforms. You don't need Mentimeter or Slido or any other tool. It's already there. You can create it there. It has integrations for tools like Miro or Mural, you know, the collaboration tools. Usually what you do is you screen share, and then people have the board open on a second monitor, or they have to switch between things, but it's just integrated and you can collaborate directly. There, for example, there are flashcards, you know, where you can just have topics which are even interactive, for example, interact with them and stamp them or click on something on the screen and it opens a link somewhere, and so on. So these are just some of my favorites, and my most favorite killer feature of Butter is you have an agenda. And what that means is you can plan your whole session. No, you drag and drop, and then you say, okay, I will start with the music player for 5 minutes, and these are the 3 songs I will be playing, and then I will open the Miro board, and then I have my slide integrated, and it shows you the timer, so that you as a presenter have an overview of your time management, and you can just click through them and say, okay, next, and then everything will, or not everything, but the scenery will change a little bit, so now we are at the Miro part, and the Miro board will open kind of like magic in the middle of the screen, and maybe there's another music that will be playing, things will be different. I'm highlighted automatically. And the great thing about this is I can reuse it. So once I'm done, say, oh, I'm doing this training or this meeting, this daily stand-up meeting. I'm doing it every day. The name daily gave it away. You can just reuse it every time, or maybe just adjust little things. I don't have to work with paper or anything else. Everybody can see, okay, this activity should only take 3 minutes and we are over time, for example, or we need to move on, or et cetera, et cetera. So this is, you have to experience it. I can explain as long as I want, but this is something you have to join one of the sessions. Even as a participant, I'm not even talking about the benefits for the host or for the facilitator, but especially for the participants, it's a totally different experience in my opinion. And I started as a participant. I joined one of their free sessions from the community where you can learn from others and do activities. And oh, this looks fun. I want to try it out, and I stick to it since then. It was maybe, I don't know, 2021 or something like this.
Right, so you've been using this for a long time.
www.butter.us if you want to look it up. It's not butter.com, it's butter.us. You can get a little overview.
Fantastic. Thanks, Valerie, for putting that in. So it's fair to say then it's a combination of interactive tools, both from the facilitator's perspective, enabling you to have a full run of show. You know exactly what's coming up. You can put timers on each particular section, which I think is an interesting one when it comes to running a particular workshop. You never, workshops that I've attended anyway back in the corporate days, is you're not really sure what's coming up next. You don't know how long is left in that particular segment, and so on. So I guess it just sort of doesn't leave anything to chance. Basically, people are fully informed at the beginning when the respective sections are coming up, how long they're going to be taking, and then there's a lot of interaction and sort of ways that people can participate, much obviously better than Zoom and any other those platforms. And is it fair to say then it's a hybrid potentially between like Zoom in terms of workshops, StreamAlive for the interaction, plus then you've got all the sort of the project management type of tools within it where you can actually go through and then build out your full workshop end to end?
Like Mentimeter and Slido, and yeah, you kind of got it. Yes, it's not a patchwork. It's really a great solution. So Slido and StreamAlive and Zoom had a baby. It would kind of look like that. Maybe the best way to describe it. And yes, I like the part about the transparency. Of course, it's not only for you, as you said. I mean, it helps me a lot because if you do something in Teams or in Zoom, you always have to have your run of show, as you call them, like somewhere, and it's just for you. And this way is, it's transparent for the whole group. Why not? And there are even notes that you know what to expect, what questions that need to be answered, like having your little show notes for yourself, that you don't maybe need a teleprompter or something. You wouldn't use one in a workshop, but just having the notes, I have to talk about these 3 bullet points, which is nice. And it does not mean you can not go longer. If the section is 5 minutes and it takes you 7 minutes, that's fine, but you can always adjust on the fly or just ignore the timers. It doesn't matter, but you don't get electroshocks if you go over time, but you can just change things on the fly and rearrange them. And I want to add one thing, which is afterwards, usually you have a meeting and then that's where it ends. And everybody goes home or whatever they do. I like the recaps a lot, and recaps does not mean the recordings. In Zoom you have a recording, or in Teams sometimes, but this is a true recap. It means you get a link to the kind of back end of Butter where you can see the recording, right? You can skip to, you have the full chat, you have every document that was shared, every chat message, every of these activities that was shared, the Miro board is there, all the shared notes, so you can relive the thing. So if I miss the meeting or the session, I get the link automatically because I was signed up for it, and then I can just go into it and see everything. I don't have to write a mail with, here are the 12 links, and here's the PowerPoint I shared on screen, and so on. It's there. I can just open it and kind of, it's not a replay. A replay is the wrong word. It's really an interactive recap you get, which is a huge thing that I haven't seen anywhere else so far. And I hope it stays this way. It's really a killer feature and makes them stand out. And somebody needs to pay me for this. Just saying, hello,
Yeah,
Jakob,
exactly.
who is the CEO of Butter. The usual address and bank account.
And is there a limitation to how many participants you can have on Butter? I know Zoom is like crazy now, where you can have hundreds of thousands of people. But in terms of what you do, and in terms of the types of workshops that you present and so on, is it right? Is there any limitations, or does it fit in perfectly with your sort of day-to-day workflows?
It has tiers. They are called tiers, right? So there are plans. There's a free plan. Oh, don't ask me for the numbers, but I think in the free plan, is it 30 participants and 45-minute limit? If you have the first one, the first paid one, it's 50 or 100, I don't know. But if you can get 100 people to join your workshop, then you have other problems than that. And there, of course, there is a very big one where we have even, it adds a few features like, you have AI support for summarizing the transcript and so on. And I think in the largest one is they use ChatGPT 4 point something, and in the middle one it's 3.5, something like this. So you get updates, and of course you have more people that you can invite, more recording hours and other things. I will look them up. If you look for pricing of Butter, then you can see the 3 or 4 tiers that are there.
And do you have like separate templates for different types of meetings? And like a town hall meeting would be a different template from a presentation. Is that the way it's organized, into some form of templates?
Yes. So you have rooms, which is one thing. So I can have a certain room, which is, so for example, I have multiple. One is my standard room, which is just coffee chat with Said. I designed it my way, and I know, this is for casual chatting. Then I have one room which is more, one-to-one with clients for coachings, etc., which maybe is less less colorful and less playful, right? A little bit more serious. And then when I have certain events, I can create a room for them. I have this Miro workshop, and then I create the room named Miro workshop, and I can reuse this whenever I do this Miro workshop. However, so this is one kind of template, having different rooms. And the other one is you can have templates like the agenda. I can have one agenda, and I save it as a template in my library or publicly. So I can even use public templates for town hall talks and then adapt them somehow. And I can just choose between them. Today I will use this agenda. Tomorrow, I will use the other template. So I prepare them all beforehand, and I can just pop them. Takes a few seconds to just select agenda you want to add to your meeting or to your room, and then you can just go with it. So it's modular and very flexible when it comes to these things. And there's also public library for templates like activities. I'm looking for an icebreaker or a check-in or, I don't know, brainstorming activity. Yeah, go there, and then you can look through what is already there, either to get inspired or to just use it as it is. Some are very, very cool. So I don't need to change anything. It's like a fun activity, or talking points, conversation starters, for example, or the 20 cards about, I don't know, whatever the topic is. So just use them, and you don't need to put a lot of work in preparing yourself.
Excellent.
Just to get started.
Right. Chris had a question, and the question is, how does it integrate with streaming software, specifically Chrome plugin? I'm not sure I understand that question. Maybe you understand that question better than I do, but
I didn't either, but I just start somewhere. So if you understand how streaming software works, I mean, we know Ecamm and we know OBS and maybe Camera, for example. You create a virtual camera. That's all you need. And every tool that supports a camera can use whatever is on your screen. So if this helps, it supports a virtual camera. And if you use Ecamm, OBS, or any other tool, and whatever they are called, yes, you can use that. Of course, if there's any plugin, let's give you one example. So I use Video Ninja or StreamAlive, for example. They don't work with Butter yet.
Right.
So if I want to use like StreamAlive, then, okay, I have to use it outside of the session itself. There is no integration, no plugin for the browser, etc. But as far as I understood, of course, working on it, because it's a growing platform. I mean, Butter, for example, right? It's a growing platform, and would be a bad move if you just ignore it and only focus on the big ones, right?
Right.
So that's my answer to the question. I didn't fully understand, but if there's any follow-up, please just ask.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's relating to, really, because I know a lot of people use other streaming services like StreamYard or Restream or others like that, and of course, as you said, if there's a way of integrating with a virtual camera, then that would work as well. We've got Lux who's joined us. Hey Lux, thanks for joining us on StreamAlive. He says butter will happen soon. Well, you heard it here on the stream first, so thanks for letting us know that.
There it is. Thanks. I would really appreciate it because it can add even more value to what is already there. So let me know if you need any support or have questions.
That'd be great. Question from Valerie. She says she saw that Butter was once an AppSumo. Do you think they would come back? Sounds like awesome software. I think they're their own platform now, right? So they're their own sort of pricing model and everything else. So I don't think it would lend itself to be on AppSumo, but let you.
I wouldn't recommend it to them to do it. I think they were on AppSumos years ago, maybe when it was really small, but they're grown out of the AppSumo thing and we are selling out. So I don't think so.
Right. And Chris is quite right.
But it's still...
that OBS is better for your waistline than Butter, clearly. So just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah. No, I get it. Okay, it was a pun. To the AppSumo questions, I forgot my point. I had something to add to that, but I forgot it.
We're just talking about the pricing. Yeah,
there's a free plan, so nothing to lose. You have basically most of the features to get started to explore it and to have meetings that are with, I don't know how many there are, less than 20 people and maybe less than 50 minutes. So just try it out and then you can figure out yourself, is it worth paying whatever the first tier costs, $19, $24, I'm not sure. But I can tell you, again, I'm not paid, but I can tell you it's worth it. If I say, there are other tools, for example, right? If I say, I have to pay for Slido and Mentimeter, I have to pay for, I forgot the name of the tool where you can create show-off runs, Session Labs, for example. I don't need Excel. I don't need to write down all my stuff. I don't need timers. I don't need this. All the things you save there. I think then it's a very, very fair deal, regardless of how high the price is.
Yeah, it's like a self-contained platform that doesn't mean then you have to have lots of plugins to get it working, and that's the thing. Actually, if you had any more questions, Martin, relating to Butter before we move on to our next topic.
I think we could move on to our next topic, actually.
I think we need to see it. I think we need to bring Saeed in again to show us a bit of a demo of Butter at some time or whenever you have some time, but that would be great.
Maybe I can set it up. I can make you an offer if you like. We can even join after this session into a Butter room. I will set up quickly and share the link with you. So if you want to see it, or any other day.
Yeah, maybe we do another day just to set something up. That would be great. So our next topic is some other tools that you use. Now, I know you're a big OBS user, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're all friends here. But in terms of how you use OBS in your sort of day-to-day, can you maybe explain sort of why you're using OBS specifically? Is that the tool of choice for you with regards to the amount of plugins and sort of the customization, and is that one of the reasons why you use it? And are you using it specifically on a PC or a Mac, or are you using on both? I'm just curious to know how you use OBS. I've got some experiences with OBS as well, which I'll maybe talk to you about later, but maybe let's hear from you and how you use OBS in your day-to-day.
Answer, Neil, but you just want to watch the world burn. Okay, then let's talk about it. I'm a PC user, so there are other options are not options for me, so I cannot use Ecamm, although I like the tool and I like most of the people who use it. So again, nothing wrong with it. I just cannot use it because I don't have a Mac yet. When I started with OBS, I didn't know about streaming software to begin with, and I didn't know about these virtual cameras. And I think you know Kat Mulvihill, right? And I stumbled upon one of her videos where she says, you can create a mask in PowerPoint to edit to your camera. So what is the hell is she talking about? And it's a free tool, so nothing to lose. Downloaded it and then just started using it since then. And I like stuff that's for free. So if I have something with that I can use for free, and there's an alternative that does maybe the same but costs a little bit, why not sticking to the free one until I would maybe hit a limit, which I didn't hit so far. So and the other thing is I'm a geek, and OBS is open source, and it has a large community, not as organized as the Ecamm family, but there's a large community. So people building plugins and add-ons and other things that I can use. And there are some really, really cool things that are also totally for free, and I use and integrate into my scenes and my setups. And I just like to tinker around. So you do you, I do me. There are, if you want something to just, I want to start it, I double click and then my camera is there and that's all I need. Maybe it's an overkill. You don't need to use it. The same applies to Ecamm in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
If I just want to add my name somewhere, I don't need all the rest, right? But if you are interested in going beyond that and creating things that are different and interactive and so on, then you have to choose between one of the big platforms, or both. If you have a Mac, you can use both. If you are on Windows, you can only use OBS in this case. And I'm always having fun trying out new things. It's not about the tool. Sometimes it's about your own creativity also. So what do I do with these things? Right? What can I do with a filter? I see what Martin does, for example. Yeah, we all have like green screen, chroma key filters, but what can I do with it? How can I integrate something into it? How can I make it playful? How can I make it interactive and interesting? Sometimes it's a really basic feature where you can get a lot out of it when you have inspiration by great minds like Martin, and of course you too, Neil, from time to time.
I think it's a case of just because you can doesn't mean that you should, right? There's many features in a lot of these tools that that you may not want to use, and you don't necessarily have to use them. If you're just doing a simple Zoom call, then you don't need all the bells and whistles of Ecamm and switching scenes. But if you want to do something like this, or the facilitator workshops that you do, Saeed, and the work that Martin does to level up and to be more presentable and to look more professional online, then there's the tools are there to help you. For example, Excel, Word, all these tools that we've used in the past. Does everybody use every feature of them? No, they just use the things that they need. And I think that's the rule for when people are getting involved in either OBS or Ecamm or any of these other tools. People can get overwhelmed with, I want to put all this on the screen. I want to make it all look fancy. Well, do you really need to do that when you're just starting off? And it's just really learning the basics of presentation skills, what the show is about, some of the details that you're trying to present as well. And it's not always about the fancy look and feel. You do have to have at least some content and be able to bring on good people like yourselves to be able to have conversations about these tools that we're using. So, Martin, did you have anything to add or ask? Are you on mute, Martin, for some reason? You've disappeared. Oh.
So I've been muting myself because I've got a bit of a cold, and
No problem.
You don't want to see me sneezing and hear me sneezing into the camera.
That's okay. Appreciate that.
But yeah, some sort of basic questions for people watching this stream here. This is actually a Zoom call, everybody, believe it or not. So we are on a standard Zoom call here. And in this particular case, I have designed this layout with Neil's background on it so that we've got the three of us in a row, and we've got some nice name placeholders for us and somewhere for the comments to go. And I noticed that Saeed had something very similar when he's on the wide screen on just himself. So I guess my question here is, Saeed, is that something that you've designed in OBS to put the drop shadow there and the line around it, and your themed background, you've done that presumably in OBS, and your camera is either sitting behind a hole in that, or your camera is sitting on top of that, one or the other?
Yes. So what I actually did here, so so this is what you're talking about, right? And you can see a little drop shadow here, and having the rounded corners on top. This is actually a hole, as you called it, in a template. The template itself, I could do a lot of things in OBS. keying out things and arranging things, but it's often it's easier to use a tool you already know. Let's use Canva or use Figma. I like Figma, where I create the whole template with the drop shadows. And it's just one file, and then I put it over my face or over the camera, and I can turn it on off if you like, just for a second. So there it is. There are some hidden things I will show you later. So, oops, spoiler alert. But it's just covering like the edges of my camera. But you can also do similar things in OBS itself, just like you can do them in Ecamm. But you can also do in both tools, create the whole template outside of it and just use it as it is. So I don't need to think too much about which feature do I need to add a drop shadow and so on and so on. I can reuse it in both tools if I have both, for example, or use it for any other thing. So that's my approach. And I can work more with details when I use a graphics tool, right? Rather than combining 12 different features that are not meant to create such a thing maybe in OBS. But both can be done. But it makes a huge difference for me to just have this. This is not much. When you talked about how much is too much when you start with this. First, I think there is no too much when you start, because this is learning by exploring. Add everything, try out everything, add 100 smileys in the background and all the colors but this is how you learn things. And then after a while, okay, and now let's start from scratch. And what do I actually need? What do I want to achieve? What is my brand? How clear do I want things to be? But there's nothing wrong with just being playful to try out the features. But this is the end result after playing for hundreds of hours with everything that's possible. And then, okay, maybe I'm overdoing it, but just in case I know all the features now.
Thank you for that. And I think it is important to realize that, just try everything out if you want to play with stuff, as Saeed said, but then be intentional about what you want to do in terms of your branding and the look and feel. And you've got a very distinctive brand.
He muted himself. Was there a question?
I did mute myself. Sorry, see, I'm muting myself as well. We're all muting ourselves. Sorry, I flipped to you and then I muted myself. Sorry, what I was saying is you have very distinctive branding. So I know that when you go onto LinkedIn or when I see a post from you or something like that, I know it's your branding. And I was saying that it's probably best for people to sort of, as you said, play with all the configurations and workflows in these tools, but then settle on something that works for you. And I've gone through many iterations of the look and feel for my show until I met Martin, and Martin started bringing these amazing profiles for Ecamm. And just to settle on a particular look and feel is important for me. And then to be consistent and then having the same look and feel for every sort of live show that I do. I could mix up the backgrounds because it's easy to do that now, but I'd rather just keep sort of the same look and feel and settle on something. So, but I think it's important to have that brand. And you can go through rebranding and changing, but I think it's important to stick with something once you've found your footing, as it were.
Are not Coca-Cola, so you can always change your brand and nobody will sue you. Or
exactly.
We are not that big to think, I need to stick with this for. And the other thing is, if whatever you do, let's say an overlay, if it looks like a website from the 90s, everything is blinking and moving. I think we are over this period. Maybe that's too much. So.
I think it can be too much. But I know you're going to show us a little bit of a demo very shortly on some of the things that you do. But before we do that, I'd like to just maybe switch over to StreamAlive and just get a little poll of where people are from. Because StreamAlive has just recently introduced a new layout, which is the more square format in terms of the aspect ratio, to make it a bit easier for vertical formatted users to be able to use StreamAlive in the workflows. But I've decided to use something square in this show, thanks to Martin for bringing the scene. So if I go to StreamAlive now, there you go, it's all ready to go. And so I would just like to ask to the audience, please, if you could just type in where you are from. And it doesn't matter because we've got the world map here. I can sort of grab on here and zoom around and see where people are coming in from. Somebody already mentioned in Michigan. There you go. We've got somebody down here all the way in Thailand. Thanks, Claudio. And people are putting in their messages now, and hopefully it will all come through. Am I seeing anything come through? It was coming through a minute ago because I have seen messages pop in. Has the interaction stopped? Where's everybody gone? We have Lux on the call so we can help out if something's not working, but there's nothing paused here. Let me just reset these results. We've got loads of people posting in comments, and I don't see any comments coming through. So that is interesting. It was working. Let me just restart this again, just real quick. Reset the results. We just try that again, people. Just ping. Seems to be sitting here. There we go. Now we got people coming through. Just had to do a little bit of a refresh, and all the comments are coming in. So we've got James here from To Do, and we've got Thailand.
Hang on. Where's James? James?
Yeah, what's he doing down there?
He's traveling.
He's traveling, James. He must be, yeah. We've got Edinburgh. Let's zoom in a bit more. Got people here. Atlanta. Hey, Chris. Thanks for that. And we've got Martin in sunny Edinburgh. I should put Portugal, but it's fine. Got a couple of people here in this area. Let's zoom in. I wonder who that is. There's Saeed. And we've got a LinkedIn user. And the name didn't pop in there, but that's okay. Maybe that's your bot. I don't know. But anyway, so we've got people coming in. Thank you for that. So that is working fine. I just had to do a refresh. But you can see the new aspect ratio makes it much nicer to be able to put into this type of layout. And we've also got some other scenes that I will go to shortly. So thank you everybody for that. So Saeed, if you're ready, you could show us a little bit of some of your workflow, some of the things that you have in terms of when you're facilitating, some of the tools that you use, and maybe some of the look and feel and little sort of bells and whistles that you have.
Yes, sure. First of all, I'm not facilitating, I'm facilitating. Working on the trademark. There's a huge difference.
Entertainment and facilitation in one word, right there.
Yeah, right. It's a different ratio. It's 80% entertainment and 20% facilitation. However, so I just set up a few things on my Stream Deck, which is the very first thing probably I can start with. I have so many buttons, I never know which one to press, which is like this. I just brought in myself multiple times because we are the only ones on the call at the moment, but this is the Zoom gallery. So I can just bring people with me on stage, and this is actually in my room. So I don't have a green screen, just for Martin, if you're wondering what's happening. I saw your conversation last week. Yeah, this is not a green screen. These are things that are actually floating in my room, and this is the Zoom gallery. Why do I do this? From time to time, popping people in and popping them out if I like, because people like when they see their own faces, their own names on screen. It's just like in a stream. We talked about this. If you type a question and you see it popping up somehow, so, oh, what's that? I can see my face now, or I can see my question, for example. And also because we record this. And on the stream it's different, but in a Zoom meeting I record this, and once you record it, you have everything on the recording. So even the people that were there, if I pop them in from time to time, people are seeing, oh, he's not having self-talk. There were actually like guests or participants or an audience he was talking to, which is just a nice gimmick. I know there are different ways, of course. The way you do it with eCam for Zoom or Zoom for eCam, whichever way around, you can also bring your guests. Thanks for showing off your studio. You can see Martin here showing his studio, and so on and so on. So I'm just, what I'm doing here is I'm basically just screen sharing something, cropped it, added an overlay with the cats and the visuals on top of it, and it looks totally different than just screen sharing anything. For example, it's just about the small details and popping it out. Oops, this was too quick. And I have a little interactive thing I would like to do with you, and then I'm just pressing through all my buttons and see how far we can get. Something for the audience. I know I will lose this one, but I have a question, and it works the following way. First of all, by snapping my fingers, you can see the visuals come in. My question is, are you a PC or a Mac user? You don't need to answer with words. What I want you to do is just type the emoji, this one should be a window. I couldn't find anyone any that's better. Or an apple into the chat of your choice would work in Zoom or on YouTube. I think LinkedIn is lagging a little bit, but let's see. No,
Can
not
I
the
type
word,
it?
Neil.
Oh, not the word. I need to put the icon, do I?
Yeah, exactly. Put the icon in it, and then.
And now you're asking for me to find the icons. Now let me just find the icon real quick.
Yeah, there's an icon keyboard. Oops,
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, and now you can see in my background, there it is. You can see a few apples floating through my room, which I like to do.
More apples.
You can also choose a red apple if you like. It doesn't matter which icon you choose; they will all appear on my screen. Okay, this is the wrong audience to ask these questions. Please, someone. There must be like there is one Windows user I can see in. Oh, thanks, Angela. I can see your support on LinkedIn. Thanks a lot for that. Awesome. Okay, why doing this? Because it's some kind of interaction, and again, grab one which is a little bit of witchery and magic. And it's not about the question. I can just ask you, and you unmute yourself, Martin, and tell me that you are using a Mac or a dog or a cat or whatever. But things happening on screen, especially when we all have the Zoom fatigue. Cameras are off most of the time in a regular meeting. Cameras are off. People reading their emails while somebody is presenting, for example, or doing other things, folding their laundry, feeding their cats, etc. pp. But if there is something happening on screen, I think people tend to then pay more focus, and also when things change. It's not in a TikTok style where every 10 seconds there's a cut, but having things changing on my camera keeps just the focus if you do it, if you don't overdo it. And now you figured out how it works. And let's do just a second question, which is this one. Are you team dog or team cat? And you can choose a dog or cat icon of your choice in the chat of your choice. At the moment, I'm covering LinkedIn, the Zoom chat, and YouTube. And yes, this works in Zoom. Usually I don't stream. So I use this feature, for example, in a Zoom meeting and do something like this. Just as an icebreaker or quick mood check-in or a pulse check, for example. I always say I don't count how many puppies are there or how many cats. Or it doesn't really matter, but I can get a rough feeling and see people interacting. And there are a lot of messages going on in the chat, which is a nice thing. Yes, and there are the alpacas. Thanks a lot. I don't know who it was. It was Lux. Okay, Lux knows his audience. Thanks a lot for the alpacas, which are my favorite animals. Moving on, and then again doing this, and they're all hidden somewhere, and they pop in and pop out and have some interactivity. The tool I use for this is Video Ninja, which does also the following. I need to look for a question that is not an icon. I have to scroll through a lot of stuff here in the chat.
A lot of
find
questions
something that
now,
actually words. Yeah. Where are the words?
And you're using the Video Ninja emojis wall feature, right, for the floating icons behind you, right?
Exactly.
Which is super cool.
Exactly that. And so, which is also part of Video Ninja, is popping in questions.
Yeah.
So I looked for Lux question. I have a little window where I can see all the questions combined from all the sources, which usually I don't do. This is one of the rare occasions where I get to play with live streams. Also works in a Zoom meeting, and I can just highlight this question from Lux or this remark or whatever it is. And now you are on screen for, I think, 45 seconds or so. And then just in case I forget to press the button again, it should disappear if I did the calculations correctly. And just going through all of them is just the way you do it, but it's another tool. And my favorite F word is free. So this one is free. So you can use it in all tools because it's just, what are they called in Ecamm again? Widgets, web widget?
Yeah, the web widgets, yeah. And I typically use Video Ninja for that as well. I had a quick question on that, actually. So in terms of how you're using Video Ninja, I know there's a couple of different ways of using it, either with the Chrome extension and the plugin. Let me just go quickly back to this. The Chrome extension of the plugin or the new app. Have you tried the new app and are you using it and which do you find is sort of the most reliable for you?
Because I know I will be here today, so and there will be a lot of things going on. Let me try the standalone app. And I tried it, but I gave up because it doesn't really work with smooth with Zoom.
Right.
And I haven't tried out YouTube or TikTok or anything because I wasn't live streaming, so it didn't make any there was no point to doing it. However, I use it as the Chrome plugin. What they did before, it was you have to download a zip file somewhere, extract it, and then put it somewhere and install it.
Yeah.
It's now on the Google Store. So you can install it official from and it also updates like every other plugin, and you can make the settings all in the plugin and then just press on or off depending on if you want to use it or not. But this makes it way easier for people to get started with, because this whole download the zip file, extract it, and go into settings, advanced, click is unnecessary for a noob maybe, or people who are not that confident. So and mine is, I can just put on one of the questions again. Mine is branded, so you can see it's the yellow and the red again, which match the color of my head and match the rest of. But you can also just go with whatever there is, right? You don't need to change the fonts or anything. You need to start somewhere when you use these tools, and start with something basic. Do your first call. Do it with friends maybe, or your team, or a small group where there's no judgment, or come to Martin and Niels' stream where there's also no judgment. So you can try things out there before maybe using them on a big stream or in a workshop with 200 people.
Yeah,
so just trying
there's
out
nothing
things
worse than that going wrong. And I guess you're using some CSS to create the transparency as well with that, because that's the good thing about OBS, where you can put in some CSS in the actual configuration. But I think you can do that now anyway within Social Stream Ninja itself, right? I think it's got the ability now to put in a field for CSS, so you can start adding transparencies and things like that.
And way easier than that, Neil. I just added a filter in OBS, which is reduce opacity.
Okay.
So
even
the whole
easier.
thing is just, I don't need to know how CSS works. Just right-click filter and then move one of the sliders a little bit, or make it more colorful. Change it in size if you like. So yeah, but there are multiple ways to add things. But I like the transparency because it's just, again, kind of immersive, part of the room, kind of not. So not just a text block. But you don't need this for the functionality. This is more aesthetics and being fancy or being bored after a while. I need to add a little bit of shadow here and there and work on the little details. But functionality is the same. Chose a question or a comment. That's the whole point of it to begin with.
So for the users out there who've noticed that said Restream bot, can we maybe explain where these comments are coming in from and how they're coming in? Because I'm sure that people won't quite understand why the bot's talking to us.
I think one of you could explain it, but from my perspective, it's because you use Restream to stream to the different destinations like LinkedIn and YouTube and others simultaneously, but you also have the possibility in Restream to consolidate and merge all the different chats. And on my side, I can just capture every chat. This Video Ninja, what that shows this year, works with 50 or so different tools, like Restream, like Zoom, like Teams, like TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you can stream. So for me, it just pops up or pops in as a comment on my side in my browser. But you did the Restream thing. That was not me. I just capture whatever comes in.
Yeah, so Restream bot is just basically capturing and just facilitating the, to use the word, facilitating all the chat messages coming into one consolidated place. And it also acts as a moderator, not a real moderator like Val, of course. It's just a sort of AI bot moderator. And just one last thing on sort of Social Stream Ninja. So are you connecting to multiple places right now within Social Stream Ninja, or is there a way yet to consolidate everything in one place? Because that's the only sort of thing I found where you have to open up multiple tabs, multiple sort of windows to support the incoming chat messages.
Having a second 4K monitor helps. I have Zoom and LinkedIn and YouTube. So I'm watching myself basically on another screen, and they're all in the browser. And automatically, because the plugin is turned on, everything will be captured there.
Yeah.
But for the moment, there is no capture everything everywhere. No, you have to open specifically the destinations where you are streaming or where you are hosting a session, and then it captures the text from the chat and the emojis. And let me just
sketching.
Sorry. So
that's a cool view there. So I was intrigued. So I think Martin's got a question first. So go on, Martin.
No, I was just actually going to take that to the sort of the next logical step, which would be obviously we're bringing in all of the comments from all over the place to drive StreamAlive as well. So I'm not sure whether you wanted to try your next StreamAlive.
Yeah, let's do that real quick. Let me just do a reset, and then that's a good point. So I'm going to go back to StreamAlive, and this was just a question for the audience, and anybody could post whatever they want in here. It's basically platforms and tools. What do you guys use? Are you OBS, Ecamm, StreamAlive, Miro, StreamYard? Maybe nobody's using StreamYard anymore because of the pricing, but let's not go there. Let's see what's going to come in now. I'm just going to pop in as well a couple of chats. Why not? I was going to put OBS there, but I don't want to be facetious. So let's...
Word cloud?
It is a word cloud, and hopefully it'll pop in a second. It's being a bit slow today, and maybe this is because of the restream piece, because maybe a restream is not playing. But it did bring in quite a few before. I don't know whether Lux is still on the call, but it's... I did see all the chat messages come in before, but it's now stopping again. Let me just do reset results. Maybe it'll all come flooding in.
Takes a few seconds until your word reaches them. LinkedIn is very slow.
Yeah, LinkedIn is very slow. Lux is saying, could I reset it? I just pressed the reset results. Let me do it again. Okay. This was fine before because I was seeing everybody's comment come in before, but it sort of stopped.
Again?
Wonder if I can... Oh, there we go. Now they're coming in. Yeah, so now they're all piling in. So maybe it was a restream thing. I don't know. Restream has been playing up a little bit, but maybe I can have a chat to Lux at some point about that. But yeah, I mean, it's capturing everything, which is great, because before this and before StreamAlive's integration with the Restream chat, it was a bit difficult to have a consolidated stream like this where we're going to multiple places and multi-streaming, then to use this to come in. So, okay.
Like to add Stream Deck into
Stream Deck, of course, yeah.
Yeah, which is also, I mean, I think a lot of people who are watching today, or a few of them have one, I know this for sure, and are using them, which is also something, just because it has the word stream in it, it's misleading, right?
Yes.
It's just a keyboard with buttons where you can, but it has the word stream in it, so it's maybe a little bit intimidating, or I'm not a streamer, why should I use this? Or I don't use OBS or Ecamm, why should I use it? Hey, you don't need to. I think
yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, the point is, it was always aimed at streamers right back in the day to be able to do switching of the respective gameplay or whatever it is. But you can buy a Stream Deck and never have any of these applications. You can just use it for Excel or Final Cut or any. I use it for Google Drive URLs. I mean, there's so many use cases for Stream Deck. We could be here all week talking about what people use it for. But go ahead, sorry.
And Zoom, because we are in Zoom. I mean, just one very, very simple application is muting and unmuting yourself in Zoom. Create a shortcut button, or there is even an app you can use just to quickly mute yourself, mute everybody in the meeting. And this is a nice thing for everyone who does trainings or webinars or anything else. Before I find the button on screen, I just have a real big red one here. Just bump with my fist, just in case.
Yeah, I use the Stream Deck plugin, Zoom plugin, quite a lot for raising your hand or muting other participants, especially if you're the facilitator of a workshop and things like that. And it's super easy to use, and I don't know why people don't use more of it. How many Stream Decks do you possess? Are you a one Stream Deck person? Do you have multiple ones?
I have the XL, which is 32 buttons here, and it's hardwired like there it is. And I have the Plus with 8 buttons and the knobs, and I of course use, which is also a little tip, the phone app, and I have the free version with 6 buttons for Android or for the iPhone, just to get started, and even the paid version for like $255 or something per month. That's basically free.
Yeah.
Just to get started for a month, try out, see if it's your thing. But at the moment I have 2. I'm waiting for something new from them that I can then add. I don't like the Neos. They look like very cheap.
I've got one set right here. Maybe I can't show you.
I don't like them compared.
It's okay. I mean, it's all right. I mean, it's like it. I mean, you could argue it's baby's first Stream Deck, but it does the job. And I like the fact that it's got a little visual display on it as well, so it tells me what time it is and dates and things. Because I'm getting old and can't remember what time of day it is and things like that. But it is useful. It is useful, definitely.
Affordable price to start. Just saying, for somebody who already has like 2 of them, I would like to have like another big one. Rather than just a cheap version.
You just want a 120 key Stream Deck in front of you, right? That's what you want. So
128 would be awesome. I really would take it, or with bigger buttons, that I can just fist bump and do stuff.
I've used an old iPad
standing
before.
up as well.
Yeah, standing up. Yeah, exactly. You just want one that's like just as tall as you, and you can just press all the buttons. But Martin's minimalist. He uses a clicker for a lot of your workflows, right, Martin? Especially going through just presentations and things. The simplest thing, right? There it is, $15 or something like that, right?
It works fine. I also have one just for minimal actions and next and previous of something. Yeah. Why not?
Why not? Why not indeed? Do you have anything else to show us today, Saeed? You've gone through quite a few different workflows and tools. I guess you're not a streamer though, are you? I mean, I just want to be clear about that. We mentioned at the top of the show that you don't actually live stream to anywhere specifically.
That's true. So I'm not a live streamer per se. But I'm a great guest on live streams. So if you push the buttons and set up, if anything fails, I'm just a guest. Nothing I can do about it. So very convenient for me. But I don't really do my own live streams yet, working on it. But it's just a confidence thing. And however, but the one thing I would like to add is for streamers out there, because everything I showed you, everything you are doing right now, you can do it the same way in a Zoom meeting.
Exactly.
You can do your StreamAlive in a Zoom meeting, the virtual camera, the backgrounds, the Stream Deck, everything. So it's a great way to get confidence if you can just do whatever your show is in a Zoom meeting. Do it with friends, do it with people you know, or it's a closed environment. You can see. That's what I like about it, and what I don't like about the streams is I can see people. So when I make a bad joke, I can see them laughing or not laughing, however. So I can look into people's faces, seeing reactions. If it's a live stream, today we are 3 people, that's fine in a Zoom meeting. But if it's just me, okay, it takes 30 seconds to get to them. And then they laugh or don't laugh. And I'm just sitting here and think, okay, I just move on. I have no idea. There is no back channel immediately as it is with, human emotions rule. I like smileys in the chat. But I think real human connection is always a great thing. And just saying, just replace Zoom with YouTube, and then you can go live. You don't even have to change anything in your tech setup.
Right.
There's nothing you would have to change to go from A to B.
Yeah, and as Martin said at the beginning of the show, I mean, and as you mentioned as well, this is a Zoom call effectively, and all we're doing is using Restream via Recam to push out this feed to I was going to say to the masses, to the kind people that have joined us today on the show. But and it is interesting what you say about the human interaction, because I've started my live streaming journey just on my own and streaming to nobody. And I think I've mentioned this before, where you look at this little icon on your Stream Deck and it tells you how many viewers you've got, and you look at it and you go, oh, that's still at 0. So how long can I keep going before I run out of things to say? and then I just close the stream. But it is much nicer to have an audience that is interacting, which is amazing. And I do appreciate everybody joining today as well. And then having people on the show like yourself and Martin to sort of bounce ideas and keep up that conversation, where you get that, as you said, that human interaction immediately without having to wait, what was it, 15, 30 seconds on YouTube before you even get a comment coming through. So you ask the question, then you wait. Then you have to think of something else, right?
Yeah, even paying
and
attention.
Valerie's favourite tool is Skype, apparently. So we've seen that in the
Oh, is that right? Oh, yeah, look at that in the comment. Yeah, so Scalary's
It's still a thing.
Valerie's still using Skype. Well done, Valerie. I mean, that's fine. If you want to use that Microsoft product, that's entirely up to you. That's no problem. But that's how Ecamm cut their teeth, right? For using Ecamm Skype Recorder, which is one of their original programs they started off doing back in the day when we had to use Skype before Zoom and everything else. Interesting. Let's see if there's any other questions in the chat. I don't think you've got anything else to add, Martin, or any questions for Saeed. I am intrigued at how he does some of those moves. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that.
Well, let's just highlight a couple of quick ones, actually, Saeed. And you won't be expecting us to say this, but there are things that OBS can do that Ecamm can't do. And one of them is the equivalent of magic move. And the other one is the equivalent of, well, the streaming in in vertical and in landscape at the same time. We can't do those in Ecamm. But the beauty is, because you can do them on OBS, we can then go and talk to Ken and Glenn and say, "Oh, OBS has got it. We've seen Syed do Syed doing it," and then lo and behold, a couple of months down the line, we'll be getting it in Ecamm. So
there you go.
But we can't do those things.
I can tell you a secret, and I forgot something. Oh, I put so much salt. I thought it was super funny, but I forgot to press the button.
You could do it.
This
you
one.
Do it. There you go.
Yeah. While we are still here, so it's too late for an intro now. I totally forgot about it. I was
Love
in the
that.
zone. I'm
Love
so
that.
sorry.
Thank you so much.
Very accurate.
It's very accurate.
And to the moving things thing, which is actually this, right? I can move my camera from A to B. I can move objects in, out, make them bigger, smaller, however. This is in the created by, it's not an OBS feature. This is a plugin created for free by somebody from the OBS community. So this is not even a real feature from OBS itself, but because it's free, people develop stuff for free for it. But I think I heard other people asking me, oh, how can we do this in Ecamm? As far as I know, there is no such thing that does the very same thing. Maybe workarounds to do it, but it would be a great addition. Usually I haven't prepared them today, but usually I have something like an agenda, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 little tiles that just pop in. So first we will talk about, and then topic 1 pops in, and then we will talk about topic 2 pops in, and so on and so on. So I can just control small things that they pop in and out whenever I need them, or lower third. You also have them just popping in and popping out again. It's a nice thing to have.
Yeah, and it is a nice fluid.
Glenn and Ken and Glenn.
Ken and Glenn, yeah.
Yeah, tell them Said said it's a cool thing.
And
I don't know if this helps.
Is right. No, and I think that is something that is. I think it's probably one of the most requested things from the Ecamm family, that they want to have something that has the ability to do exactly what you've just shown, and so on. And the same as Martin's mentioned as well, we're having the ability to multi-stream in different aspect ratios, which would be a thing. Now I know OBS has this plugin, right? It's another plugin that
Exactly.
you can actually do that.
It's the Atom. I don't use it, but I think it's the Atom plugin, right? Which does multi-streaming, and there's another one from Atom which does vertical and horizontal. I know others like John Lacey uses this. I don't use it, but and recording in 2 different. We didn't talk about recording, but recording in 2 aspect ratios, or recording in general, and then one as a short, and the other one as the full video. And no editing is the best editing. Just maybe clipping things is the maximum. And you can even set markers somewhere. So, okay, this is where I want to clip it after 1 hour of talking, just setting little markers somewhere. And then it's maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes of editing. And then you have 20 different short videos for all the various places out there. It saves a lot of time.
It's finding those hidden gems within the stream when you're doing this. We're over the hour at the moment, but I just wanted to ask you one or maybe two quick questions. Maybe not a quick question, but it's a tech show, and we're always interested in the tech and the technology that people use. I'm not asking you for a studio tour here, but what is your sort of gear that you use in terms of your camera, your backdrop, lighting, things like that, just so people know how you achieve what you achieve?
Okay, let me see where I can start. The camera you are seeing right now is the Elgato Facecam Pro. This is my main camera, but I have a second one, which is the Logitech Brio 4K, also great camera with a great quality. I use for my desk cam, I use an old C920 from Logitech. Why throwing it away? I can still use it for stuff like this. Then I have two Elgato lights, the key light, the big one, and the key light Air. That's a fill light. What else? Two monitors, an ultra wide monitor that I'm sitting in front of, and a 4K monitor for all the stuff that is open, but I don't need to look at it, like all the various windows. Shure MV7, but with a...
Oh, you've muted yourself there, I think, Saeed.
Yeah,
there's a mute,
which
there's
also
a mute
has a
button
hardware mute button. Yeah. I just said it's yeah. Oh my god, I don't have confetti here. So it's the MV7 from Shure, but it's the SM7B pop filter, which has like this more like a margin, which is a great thing. It helps a little bit with getting a change.
Oh, you've muted yourself again by moving that. No problem.
Yeah, it's
great.
only 4 years of Zoom meetings. Why not muting myself?
There you go.
Times in a row?
Audio,
And
physical mute buttons.
I don't have a backdrop. Yeah, I don't have a backdrop. This is my actual room. So everything you see here is it's my actual room. I don't use green screen. I don't like to use green screen. I don't have one, but I just like to show off a little bit of my background. And just very simple 12 euro LED strips and 2 LED bars that were also on sale Black Friday a few years ago. More than I need. And I think that's basically a usual PC. And 2 Stream Decks we already talked about. That's it. And my favorite thing is my headphones, which are the Sony XM1000, I don't know, 1000 XM5, I think. It's a super awesome noise cancellation, very comfy on the head. I wear them the whole day, even if I don't listen to anything. It's just keeping my ears warm sometimes.
That's the thing I find with talking to some people who use Zoom a lot, is that they obviously prefer not to wear headphones because it is tiring after long Zoom calls all the time. But I think if you find the right set of headphones that are comfortable, it's much better from a sound perspective anyway, so you don't get any slap back or any sort of hearing of the other person and so on. And as a facilitator, I guess this is your thing, right? Because you're known for wearing these headphones and your hat, and they are Bluetooth as well, so you're not wired at all.
Yeah, please don't take this advice. So never use Bluetooth or wireless stuff when you stream, at least. But there are Bluetooth, but I also can just plug in a cable here if I like it. It's just here. Just in case anything breaks, I just pull up my cable and plug it in my left ear.
Good to go.
Yeah, but I just like the mobility, and I would just rip the cable each time I move my arm, so I prefer using Bluetooth.
Yeah, that's what happens with these.
Anything that's wireless.
Every time I'm always adjusting the back of my head because I think they're about to fall out and something like that. But there you go. Anything else from you, Martin, before we start to wrap up the show?
No, I think what I did, apart from saying a big thank you to Saeed for coming on today and talking to us about OBS as well, and he did mention John Lacey, so I want to give a shout out to John, who's in Australia. I've been following stuff that John's been doing, but his time difference just doesn't work for us. It will be a stupid time of day for John to come onto the show, but if he wants to get up at some ridiculous time in the morning, he's welcome to join us on the show going forward. We've already got a bunch of incredible guests lined up. I'm just going to talk about next week's one first before we run to the closing show anyway. John Esperon's going to be joining us on the show next week. And it's going to be a bit different. It's kind of a 50-50 show because John was, can I say complaining? He was certainly not very happy that StreamYard had doubled its price recently and was therefore looking for alternatives to StreamYard for his use cases. So we're going to be talking to John for 50% of the time about all the different options, including, of course, Ecamm and OBS, and the differences between the products and how they work, because there are some big differences between how Restream, for instance, works and how Ecamm works. And one, you may want a bigger computer with, one you may want, better bandwidth, dependent on where you are in the world, that type of thing. So we'll answer all of those questions, and then because John is a super LinkedIn expert, we can ask John a whole load of questions about LinkedIn and effectively how to communicate better on LinkedIn, how to build communities on LinkedIn, and all the stuffs like that. So it's kind of an exchange. So 50-50 next week. And then we've got another couple of guests scheduled a little bit later on as well, which you're going to see in the closing.
Well, we just thought we'd throw them in right now while you're talking about them. So why not? We can do it now, of course, before we give the details of where to find Saeed as well.
So John is going to be joining us, and then a little bit later on, in a couple of weeks, beginning of December, Chris will be joining us, and then today we've just got confirmation that Jan's going to join us at a later date, as yet not scheduled, but all of those things we will be doing in the next few weeks. Thanksgiving itself, well, we only just found out it was Thanksgiving when I invited somebody to join us, and then they said, oh no, can't do the 28th, it's Thanksgiving. Oh, right, okay. We don't really do the Thanksgiving in the UK, so we'll be coming back on, but it will just be myself and Neil, and we'll be having a chat about what we're going to call, I think, the end of month roundup. And what that really means is we haven't quite decided what we're going to talk about in that show yet.
That's exactly what it means. But there's been a lot of tech advancements recently with Rode introducing more products, updates to software and things like that. So I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about even before there's going to be some more announcements, I guess, even before the end of that month. If you want to follow Saeed, and I certainly encourage you to do so, this is where you can find Saeed. We also have a QR code at the end of the show, so don't forget to scan that if you're watching this on the replay. Stay till the end as well, because you'll have a QR code to scan to get all the details of where Saeed is from. Pull in full screen. You're going to do a special Black Friday Cyber Monday show. Well, that is a good point, actually. That means if we do, that could potentially mean that we have to talk about, spending more money and things like that. Maybe. And Black Friday is just after Thanksgiving.
That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, it is, because
that's a good idea,
everybody's running these deals beforehand, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, maybe we should just scour the internet and say these are the things you should be looking out for on Black Friday, because they're the best deals for the best pieces of kit.
And software.
Let's not forget tons of kit.
Yes. I was going to ask you, you don't use a teleprompter right now, Saeed? No, you don't have one?
Oh, no, I don't. But I would like to have the Elgato prompter, because I think it's, from what I saw so far, it's convenient. You don't need like an iPad and everything, and it fits great into the ecosystem of the Elgato things I already have. Hoping for maybe a deal next week on Black Friday. I don't need it, actually, but it's not about what I need. Just having it and then think about how can I use it.
It never is.
Never is. It has been very useful for me. It hasn't gone without its quirks and some problems, but those have finally been ironed out. There's a few things that I've been testing with Elgato on as well. But yeah, I'm using it right now, and it's super easy to keep eye contact and so on, as you know, for those types of interviews, workshops, and all that kind of stuff. All right, let's see if there's any other questions before we close up. Any more for any more? I think we're good. Well, Saeed, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. You're welcome back anytime. If you want to show a demo of any of the stuff, you're very welcome. Even if you just want to talk some tech, some new bit of tech that you may have got that you think is super useful for the people out there to know about, or just to geek out with us and have a chat, because we all like tech and setting things up as well. So anytime you want to come back, you are more than welcome.
Thanks a lot for having me. It was great fun, and yeah, thanks to everyone who joined. Saw a lot of familiar faces in the various chats, and I will definitely come back someday. Yeah, thanks for the invitation.
No problem. And we do see you on many other shows. I don't know how you do it. I'm convinced, Martin and I are convinced that you don't sleep because you end up turning up on shows at some crazy times of day. And I know it's an hour later for you where you are at the moment as well, which makes it even later when we see you online going, how's he doing that? So there you go.
So insomnia helps a lot.
Yeah, that's a good way of
get a lot of stuff done in the middle of the night.
All right, we're going to close the show for now. Saeed, again, thanks so much for joining us. Martin, always a pleasure. Get better soon, and we will see you next week for maybe a Black Friday, Cyber Monday, some sort of extravaganza. We will see what's going on. Until then, take care of yourselves. See you soon.